Is that on? There we go, maybe. See if my clicker's working here. It is good to see you guys. We have missed y'all. We have been out of town for a couple weeks. And really, because of church camp coming right before that, I think we haven't been here 3 of the last 4 Sundays. So it's been a while since we've got to see you, and we have just know that we've missed you, and we love you guys. And so it's good to be back here and getting to be with our church family. A few things. I want to say thank you. I know Megan had a large part of putting together VBS, but thanks to everybody that helped with VBS. And I want to say thanks to my interns, Kyler and Zach, who held down the fort while we were gone and out of town. They've done a great job all summer. They've done a really good job these last couple weeks while I wasn't here. They planned a couple of events. They helped with VBS. And so just very thankful for them and thankful for the influence they are on our youth. And so just appreciate who they are and just thankful for them. All right, so a couple weeks ago, we got to go to camp. Our theme this year was rescue. We talked about all kinds of rescue stories from camp. There was the whole crew that was at camp. A lot of you guys were there either as campers or as staff. Sorry, I think I'm hitting buttons. But we had a blessed week. I was so thankful just to be able to have camp. We did not get to have camp last summer. We didn't get to do much of any overnight trips last summer, so this summer has felt extra special. I don't think you realize how much you miss something until it's taken away. We kind of took the fact that we get to go to camp for granted. And man, when we didn't get to do it for a year, you realize what a special week that is. And so I was so thankful for the week we got to have, and it really was a good week. During the week, I got to twin with an elder, which was good. Which David's not even here this morning to see that. They're in Illinois, but so that's probably better that way. But we got to twin, and just a good week. Oh, we had Graham joined us this year. You'll notice a couple of those people are Avery and HB. Avery took the job at Eastside Church of Christ as their youth minister. We're way excited. We're actually going there tonight for a Nexus event, a youth event. But they got to bring their youth group. We're hoping that that's a tradition that continues and that they'll continue to be able to do camp with us. But we were thankful to have them along with our crew this summer. And then we've got just a couple pictures from camp here. We've got Zach giving a lesson at worship. And we've got some of our high school guys giving us a Devo in the morning at Flagpole. Just like I said, a blessed week, great week, good times to be together. So thankful that we got to be there. And then, just a quick plug, if you see these, when we talk about Awaken, and if you're an adult and you think, man, that trip looks like so much fun. Kristen, who's not here, she's at the hospital this morning, but Kristen plans an adult version that's similar, very similar to the trip we take. So if you think this is something you may want to do, Kristen, who plans that, she would love to talk to you about that. And it's an amazing trip. She does a great job planning it. And that will be next summer. We alternate our Awaken trip. We'll go on mission trip next summer. And then we won't go on Awaken again until 2023. So, but if you want to go, there's your opportunity. It's awesome. So now let's talk about Awaken. There are 2 questions that I want to try to answer today. What did we do and why did we do it? I'm going to spend hopefully just a few minutes. I've got 47 slides, I think, but I'm going to go through them really quick. And so that's not to scare you, but I will attempt to get through those pretty quick. Just to tell you what we did. You'll see lots of pictures up here. That's one of the reasons that Pat was in the dark earlier. Because I had these off because there are a lot of pictures, but I think it'll be all right. And then I'm going to, at the end, show a slideshow that's going to show you more why we did what we did. But first off, let's just talk about what did we do on the trip. Here's a quick recap. We loaded up early on Sunday, the 20th, Father's Day. We left out, and you can see we ride in vans and we ride in style and comfort. We started making our way we started making our way to Colorado, and along the way we stop at convenience stores which offer us a chance to get a Coke, a snack, maybe a stick horse if you're Kate or Rudy, or maybe some Amarillo Sod Poodle merch, right? Kylie, I think it was Kylie, wasn't it? Kylie that bought it? Yeah, she got her some Amarillo Sod, which is their minor league baseball team in Amarillo, so spending all that money wisely. We stop in Dalhart for a picnic lunch. We found a nice little park up there. We put the spread out real quick. We all grab a sandwich so we can get back on the road pretty quick. There is a merry-go-round at that park, and we've gone there several times, and it never fails. I tell kids, let's not spend too much on the merry-go-round because we've got to get back in the car. They do not listen. So Zach actually incurred an injury at that park. Took one of those yellow bars, I think, to the face maybe. It was not good. And then Cade sat in chocolate, just to let y'all know, while we were at the park. At least that's what he's telling me. That's what we're not asking any more questions than that. There was a Reese's in the seat that he found. But anyway, we did give him a hard time almost all week about it. So we get back in the car in about 30 minutes outside of Raton. My new car that we just purchased, new to us, quit working. Mike was driving it, so it was his fault. But here's what's cool about the story. If you've read my bulletin article, you'll see that this trip, more than any other Awaken trip, this was our 5th Awaken trip to take. It had more hiccups than any other trip we've ever taken. There just seemed to be thing after thing just kind of pop up that just made you kind of worry a little bit. And in every instance, God provided. Here we are, we're broke down, and we meet Mr. Ed here. You can see him. He's not a horse. But we meet Mr. Ed. And when we pull up to his taxidermy shop, he has provisions set out for us. Cupcakes and fruit and all kinds of things that are on the tailgate of his truck like he was expecting us. They had just had a revival at his church, and he had all of this food, and he said, I need help getting all this eaten. Y'all come grab a snack while we figure out how to help y'all. And Mr. Ed would go on to, Pat found a friend while we were at the taxidermy shop too, just to let you know, if you were wondering. Pat did find a friend. But while we were there, Mr. Ed said, hey, I want to say a prayer with you guys. And we circled up and we said a prayer. And not only that, he said, now I want you to follow me into Raton. And we're going to park your vehicle at the church I go to. And you're going to give me the keys to your brand new vehicle. And I'll make sure it gets to a mechanic. Talk about a little bit of trust, right? I had to, okay, here, Mr. Ed that I just met. Here are the keys to my car. And we left our vehicle with him. He was an amazing man. Like I said, gave us, said a prayer with us, gave us food. And here's our whole crew with Mr. Ed. You can't see him. He's back there behind steel. He got covered up in the picture, but, but very thankful and very gracious. He was very gracious to us, and just appreciate him being willing to help us. So we have a problem. We've got one less vehicle. We have to squunch into vans to make the rest of the trip, because once we got there, we had a scout team there, and so we had some extra vehicles in Colorado, but not ideal. But so thankful that God provided Mr. Ed for us. We dropped my car off at the church. We make it through Raton Pass. We stop to gas up, and next part of the adventure, right? Attention, we are currently out of regular unleaded fuel. But God provided. They let us have premium for the same price, which is, hey, pretty awesome, right? So we finally arrive in Colorado. This year we had a scout team go up, so we didn't have to do any of the grocery shopping. Brad and Kristen went up early to check into the houses. Daniel and Cherie were already up there, so they helped get dinner ready. They helped buy all the groceries. They helped get into all the houses. And so when we got there, I'm so thankful that they did that, because we had planned on not having to make any of those stops, in the day being a shorter day and us just being just traveling. But with car trouble and the other things that kind of popped up, it just ended up being a longer day than we anticipated. But we got there to an awesome dinner. And then we were finally able to hand out journals. And then you can see we cozied up for worship. That was us in the living room, fitting 44 people. 44 people into a living room was tough, but we managed. We made each kid a journal. These journals, you're going to see excerpts from these journals later on in the slideshow. And so I just want you to know, they all got journals with a lovely caricature done by a mediocre artist on them. So once worship was done on that first night, we headed to our houses, we settled in, and we prepared for our first hike. You can see all the guys found some robes in a closet, so that was good. And Adam serenaded Rudy in the bathroom, which we don't ask what goes on at all the houses, but there you go. God provided us awesome weather really all week. In spite of hiccups and in spite of things that happened, our weather was awesome, our hikes were awesome. We woke up early to great weather, headed to the trailhead, and began the 3-mile hike to Ptarmigan Lake. It was a good hike. We arrived at the lake. We had time to have a snack. We enjoyed a little bit of time of just hanging out. And then we had solo time, which solo time was something that you're going to hear a lot about. We did that every day. That was time where it was just you out in creation with your Bible, spending time reading, praying, meditating, journaling, right? So we had some time to do that, and then we spent the 3-mile hike back. We arrived back to the house. We rested, we had dinner, and then we had our evening worship, which is kind of the routine that we did every day. And after worship, we head to our houses, and we get ready for Tuesday's adventure, Captain Zipline. Okay, but here's what you need to know. Captain Zipline would actually involve no ziplining. It's ironic. They also do ziplining, but what it was it's this enormous ropes course. If you're scared of heights, there's some fears you got to face there. There's some fears you got to conquer. And we only did pictures from afar. I'm not showing you a whole lot of pictures because of harnesses. There you go. They're not very they don't make you very photogenic. The harnesses don't. But you can see right here, you've got Aaron and a couple of the other girls. It's not easy to jump on that thing and do some of those elements. And there's all kinds of spiritual parallels that we pull from these things in evening worship when we talk about, how hard was it to trust that your mechanism wouldn't let you fall when you're 50 feet above the ground, right? So there's all kinds of things that we get to kind of talk through at nightly worship. We returned from the ropes course, and we found out, this is another hiccup, right, that our nightly worship services were evicted. We had an HOA. There was one person that kept continuing to call the HOA and tell them that we were having parties. We were not having parties, we were having worship, and we would have gladly allowed that person to join us. But we had to move our dinner and our worship up the hill to a different spot. Would have been easy to complain. Really, the house that we were in was the best house. It had a giant deck. It had a living room big enough. The house we had to move to up the hill was not ideal. But our new location offered new opportunities. And we got to have worship outside, under the stars, in the breeze, and the weather cooperated. It was awesome. We got to go to bed early on Tuesday, or we had to go to bed early on Tuesday because Wednesday is summit day, right? We woke up super early and we make the drive to the Mount Sherman trailhead. We said a prayer, we handed out challenge cards, we petted a fox. We didn't pet the fox, we just took pictures of the fox. And we began the ascent to 14,000 feet. Here we are walking, starting the ascent. It starts out on a road and turns to a trail pretty quick, but it's all uphill until you turn around, right? So nothing easy about it. The walk was steep. You climb about 1,000 feet in elevation each mile. We took in the amazing scenery, all the while trying to catch our breath. So that's all right at the beginning of the trail. And this spot right here is going to become really important later on in the day. Also another side note, dry air can wreak havoc on your nose. Here's Darren. Darren bled out a couple quarts of blood on the way up the mountain. He wasn't the only one to suffer a nosebleed, but his just seemed to be a little more effusive. I don't know. It was not good. But we continue the ascent and we reach our summits, right? And I say our summits because this year we did have 39 of our 44 make it all the way to the top. That's the most we've ever had of one of our groups get all the way to the top. But everybody's kind of got their own summit. And so when you reach your summit, here's our group photo at the top. Group photo at the top, so fun stuff. Big crew standing on top of luckily Sherman has a pretty good peak. While at our summits, guys, we have had letters written. A lot of you wrote letters. You might have wrote a parent letter. You might have wrote a grandparent letter. You might have wrote a mentor letter. But Ashley does a great job of collecting letters for the kids and for the adults. And here we are, and it's an emotional thing to read those letters of hope and encouragement while sitting on the top of a mountain. So after letters and lots of pictures are taken at the top, we begin the trek down. It's a little easier going downhill. You've got gravity to help you. That's nice. A little harder on your knees and your toes, but man, you can breathe. And on the way down, another hiccup. My daughter, Erin, who's been dealing with some health stuff, started to feel a little funky. And God provided a stranger that said, "Do you need me to call a rescue helicopter?" He said, "I think we do." And then he provided friends that put Erin on their back and hiked her down the mountain. And then he provided paramedics that were good at what they did and could land a helicopter in a tiny little area. And they were able to get her safely to a hospital and where they were able to take good care of her. So God continued to provide in spite of some hiccups, some major hiccups. Also, on a lighter note, Pat was thankful to find this gem and some old mining equipment near the bottom of the mountain. He wasn't the only one that was happy to find it, but when you're above tree line, there's just really no places to go. So you're thankful when you find, it's like a potty from heaven. It was good. So we got home, we had dinner, we worshiped, and we discussed all the adventures of the day. The climbing the mountain, the helicopter, all the things, we're able to discuss them. Thursday, it brings a much needed break because we had an early morning solo time, but then it's whitewater rafting, which whitewater rafting uses your arms more and your core more than your legs, so you like that because you've just walked up a mountain and your legs are kind of sore. And you get to get wet and the water's freezing and it's lots of fun. And this boat right here made the most noise of any boat. You can see Tramar and Kobe up there, and they were, and Maribel was really loud. And on the water, I just wanted to point this out. It's important that everyone works together. You'll notice Rudy there. He's working together with everybody. And you can see, I zoomed in on the guide's face because I wanted you to see. He's kind of looking like, "What are you doing?" Like you're supposed to be working, right? Like that's his fault. That's the guide's fault for telling him where the camera's going to be. But so Rudy is smiling for the camera, and I'm thinking, man, I bet that guide was mad. Nope, God's not mad. So he's going to join in and do the exact same thing. Rudy's bad influence. No. But I want you to know and I want you to hear that on the water, fears are faced. We would talk at worship the same way we did about the ropes course and summiting the mountain, about all the spiritual parallels that could be drawn from our time on the river. Ashley's not a big fan of rafting. She goes and she faces that fear, but after she's fallen out once, not her favorite thing. Marie also Not a fan. She chose to go on the trip, maybe knowing that she got to raft. I don't know. I don't know if Rudy told her or not, but she went and she faced that fear, and wasn't her favorite thing. She didn't like it any better when it was done, but she went and she faced it. Friday morning, we get home. Thursday night, we have worship, all those things. Friday morning, we have our last hike of the week. We found an abandoned chipmunk as we gassed up the vans. He was sitting there in the parking lot of Love's, and our kids saved him. Saved her. They named her Eleanor, or Sweet Cheeks, depending on who you are and which one you prefer. But then we made our last hike to an abandoned railroad tunnel, Hagerman Tunnel. And at the mouth of this cave, this tunnel, we removed our shoes. We sang songs of praise. And man, we were just in awe of the way that God consistently and constantly shows up. It was a powerful moment. When you see a lot of what the kids wrote in their journals, you'll hear a lot about Hagerman Tunnel. You'll see a lot about Hagerman Tunnel and the experience that we had there worshiping together. After some solo time at the tunnel, at the cave, we made the long way back to the vans. And it was fun. On the way back, we sang every VBS song we could think of. We sang some old hymns. We sang a lot of songs from the book. But it was lots of miles of just singing. It was fun. And then Friday night included worship and packing up. And then we took family pics at each of our homes. We had 5 homes, so this was each home. And then also, we thought the chipmunk had been let go at the end of our hike, and it miraculously had not been. And we had a reunion that night with the chipmunk. So then the next morning, there's the reunion with the chipmunk. Saturday morning, we get up, we head back home with our hearts, I think, more focused and more full, and with a baby chipmunk in tow, and they wanted everyone to know. If you're wondering how baby Eleanor chipmunk is doing now, she's dead. Apparently, we didn't know. We thought we were saving this chipmunk, but you can't give a chipmunk cow milk. It doesn't work. So we thought we were helping the chipmunk out, but we were not. So that's what we did on the trip. It's hard to put 168 hours together into one 15-minute talk or 20-minute talk. I can't possibly tell you all the conversations that were had and the prayers that were given, that were had together, and all that we did on that. But I can give you a brief glimpse, and maybe it helps you know kind of what we did. I think the more important question is why. Why Awaken? Why take a bunch of teenagers into the mountains? What's the purpose? I think the first thing is Jesus often withdrew to lonely places to reconnect. And also because I believe that James 4:8 is true. I believe that when we draw near to God, He draws near to us. I believe Jeremiah 29:13 and 14 is true. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all of your heart. I will be found by you. One of the lines in Hillsong's song Highlands, Song of Ascents, is, which is kind of a song that we used a lot in one of our past Awaken trips, says, I would search and stop at nothing. I would search and stop at nothing. You're just not that hard to find. Awaken's a powerful week, but I told the kids several times there's no magic in this trip. It's just a group of people coming together and drawing near to God. And you know what? He shows up. He's just not that hard to find. And rather than have me tell you about all the lessons we learned for the week, I thought it'd be better for you to hear it from those that were on the trip. From their journal entries, I want you to listen to what they were in awe of over our trip. When the slideshow's over, Doug's going to lead an invitation song. And if you need anything, from prayers to putting Christ on in baptism, we have people here who love God, who love you, and are willing to help in any way they can. I'll enjoy getting to see what our kids and what our adults thought about the trip.
All throughout my history, your faithfulness has walked beside me. The winter storms made way for spring. In every season, from where I'm standing, I see the evidence of your goodness all over my life, all over my life. I see promises in fulfillment
be yours to follow. May my mouth be full of blessing. Lord, I want to speak with your words. May your spirit light my pathway. Take my life today, forever. Consuming fire, burn